that time of year again, a time when it seems there are just three things to talk about: the weather, holidays and the chances of the marching season turning ugly.
It's easy to forget, but of the thousands of parades that take place in Northern Ireland every year, the majority of them, like this one here in North Belfast, are uncontentious. And in recent years, even our most notorious flashpoint marches have been relatively calm. So in the new Northern Ireland, is parading no longer a problem?
Oh, it is indeed. We have many parades that do not go ahead as we would like them to go ahead because of the difficulties.
I am concerned that we're heading towards another parading season without meaningful dialogue taking place in many of the areas.
I have to say that the issue of parading and protest has not gone away,
2009 was meant to see the marching season set off to the beat of a different drum. New legislation and a new system for ruling on parades were supposed to be in place. Instead, tonight a new chairman of the Parades Commission has been appointed, signalling that it has at least a short-term future. The Orange Order isn't happy.
Is it time for the Parades Commission to go?
2 years ago.
Until Drum Cree erupted, the RUC decided whether marches went ahead or were rerouted, and were subsequently blamed by whichever community thought things weren't going their way. The creation of the Parades Commission helped change that, but it didn't entirely take the heat out of Northern Ireland's summers. These days the temperature has been turned down, so much so that the army is no longer routinely deployed for parades.
I think what has lessened the tension around parades is an anticipation within the loyal orders and the bands community that the Parades Commission is going.
And that's because 2 years ago a review body, headed by Lord Paddy Ashdown, was set up to look at the future of parading.
There's no time to make this better than now.
The focus of Lord Ashdown's review was on two members of his group, Sean Spike Murray, once a senior member of the IRA, and the Reverend Mervyn Gibson, a leading Orangeman and former RUC Special Branch officer. The theory is that if they can agree about parades, their communities will follow. But we're now well into this year's marching season, and so far there's no sign of the official report from the review body. It was due out in October of last year. That then moved to December. It's now June and we're still waiting. And the cost of that review? So far, more than £600,000. However, an interim report published last year gave a sneak preview. It proposed replacing the Parades Commission and allowing local authorities to oversee talks. But if negotiations failed, panels appointed by the First and Deputy First Ministers would step in.
We believe that what will be proposed by the Ashdown Review will be a vast improvement on the present system. What we want is a fair system for everyone.
When the report was initially published, Sinn Féin expressed a number of concerns around it, particularly around the role of councils and how the adjudication body would reach its decisions. So all those things have to be ironed out.
So are individual local solutions the answer? Academic Neil Jarman has been revisiting 26 locations that have been affected by parades in the past. He's found that in some rural areas, things have moved forward.
I think in those areas where people had been willing to talk, they were finding there was scope for progress, and they were making some attempts to address the issues. It was slow, it was long, it was painstaking, and it required a degree of commitment. But it could be done, and it was being done. In other areas, there was no form of engagement, and effectively the disputes were frozen.
So if Lord Ashdown's proposals were meant to be in place this year, what's the delay? The review body says there are still details to be finalised, but it's also clear that their recommendations are firmly tied to the political debate over the devolution of policing and justice powers.
Those who want to see the Parades Commission move, those who want to see changes to the attitudes on parades, need to ensure that policing and justice is devolved. But it's not a quid pro quo. We're not negotiating one off the other.
If this legislation for a new regulatory system has not started its way through Parliament by the autumn, it's unlikely to be in for next year again. And I think it will be testing the patience of the loyal orders and the bands community to expect us to wait until 2011 before the new system is in.
And the delay is also causing concern in other quarters. Duncan Morrow of the Community Relations Council is an advisor to the review panel.
Until we have an agreement that is bought into broadly as to how we're going to handle this issue, then this is potentially the one thing every summer which can destabilise everything.
As things stand, the Parades Commission has 6 months left to run, but it's still not clear what would replace it, which leaves the marching season heading towards an uncertain future.